Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Mize Breakroom. My name is Marc Swearengin, Director of Business Development here at Mize. And today I'm joined with Casale and Bryan Phillips, a couple of our shareholders here at Mize. And I'm excited about this one. I'm here to talk about our longstanding relationship with McDonald's and everything we've done. So I know you guys have worked on it a long time. So why don't we kind of get into it? You've both been working on it, McDonald's, for quite a while. Maybe share some kind of the history. How did that all start with Mize? Where does this history begin and as we get into where it's going?
Well, the history with Mize, actually, but my history with McDonald's began before Mize. So it was with another firm, Cobbler. And I started working there in 1982. I answered a newspaper ad because back in the day, you had newspapers and they had one ads. And I had been working for a CPA firm for a few years. And the partners at that firm didn't like each other very well. And it was a pretty bad atmosphere. And I don't remember what happened that morning, but I needed to be out of there. So I had my husband pick me up for lunch, bring the newspaper, went to a payphone right around the corner, called, got Linda, arranged an interview. Linda was a shareholder, and she's since retired. And she hired me. And so in October of 1982, I began my career working with McDonald's franchisees.
Wow. Do you remember your first franchise that you worked with?
I remember working with Deb Clack, who's a client that they still have restaurants. She was one of the first. She was probably one of the first that I actually talked to on the phone, and I asked her a silly question about the P&L, something that we all should know. What's PAC? Which meant nothing to me. Uh-huh. And she told me what PAC was, and she told me about Hamburger University, and she was very kind about it and very helpful, and I appreciate her to this day.
That's great. And then Mize came into the picture. Obviously, it wasn't Mize at that point.
We were Cobbler, and we had some McDonald's from 1982 to 1993. Let's say we grew that practice significantly as Cobbler. We were in the process of trying to buy out Mr. Cobbler. That was to have happened in 2000. It didn't happen as planned. We needed to make it happen at the beginning of 2003. There was a huge change in our industry between 2000 and 2003 when Arthur Andersen went down over Enron. Mm-hmm. So what was really bankable in 2000, not so much so in 2002, when we were trying to get this done. We were consulting with Mize about how can we get, can you figure out what are we not doing? Mm-hmm. And they approached us with the idea of merging our practice into their practice as the buyout. And we didn't regret it. We've never regretted it. It's been great. That happened in January of 2003.
Wow, that's great. How about you, Bryan? What's your history with that?
Sure. So, I've been here with Mize 26 years. Carol and Linda, as she mentioned, actually hired me straight out of college. So this is the only place I've ever been. Man. And wouldn't change it. But like Carol, I started with Cobbler in 1998. So I was there about 5 years before the merger with Mize. So I was pretty young when all that happened and so forth. So, but it did give an opportunity, obviously, for us as a firm, gave us some resources to be able to grow. Personally, it gave me an opportunity to grow as well. From the McDonald's perspective on that, when I started, one of the things I do remember is when I started in 1998, I was employee number 17, and we're around 150 today. So it's been fun to watch us grow like that.
How many locations were we serving at that point?
When I started, I don't remember we had when we started, but it wasn't long after I started, they celebrated restaurant number 300.
Okay.
And we're around 2,500 as we sit here today, give or take.
That's amazing. And the firm's gone from, how many people was it back then when that happened?
Well, we had a payroll. We moved to this building in 2006. We were in our old building. It wasn't very big. I don't remember.
No, when we moved over here, we took up part of one floor.
And that included payroll.
And then eventually we took up the whole floor. Then eventually we took up another floor. Then eventually we took up half of another floor.
Yes. So
wow, that's crazy. That's amazing growth. When you guys first started with McDonald's, what was the services? Were you doing everything we're doing now? What what were you focused on? When you first got into that business, right? When you start working with a franchise like that, where did we start?
I started in accounting services, doing the monthly accounting, and from that, you learn. The client organizations were pretty flat too. You were they were smaller. You were dealing with the client themselves many times. And from that, though, I was going to school at the time also, and finishing school and learning about tax. And then pretty soon you're doing their tax return. And it just evolved into the firm did their taxes, but maybe a different person did it than did their monthly work. But through that process, you just began to know about them, know about their families, the things they liked, the things they didn't like. McDonald's is a great system for bringing people into it. I mean, these are great clients. We are so lucky for the client base we have. It's like this doesn't even feel like work most of the time. It is really, I'm really thankful for the quality of clients we have.
Yeah, it's a blessing for sure. It's one of the things I did not expect when I got into this, and I was young as well, but realizing I would develop the relationships with our clients that we have, the depth of those relationships. Sure, you know your clients and so forth, but you go to their houses, you're invited to anniversaries and
weddings
big events.
Yes.
You become almost like a part of the family to an extent.
Yeah, it's been very, for myself, very inspiring watching that and seeing that it's the relationships this company has built with those clients, right? And it's no longer it's not just providing services, but you're truly part of their business, part of their family, part of everything. And watching you all interact with your clients is pretty amazing, because it's not like a business relationship. They just talk to you like you're just part of the family. So I commend you guys for the things you guys have built. So we talked about where you guys, back then. So today you mentioned about 25. How many owner operators are we currently working with?
We're right around 300, give or take today.
Yeah.
And about 2,500 locations, which is pretty big considering the total amount of U.S. based locations is.
Yeah, roughly 14,000 U.S. locations. I think 1,000-ish are still McCopcos.
That'd be about right.
So we're representing, what would that be? Doing math in my head, need my calculator. 20%, a little over 20% of the system.
Well, close,
right?
Close to it.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
And it was, we mentioned about 2,500 locations. So you guys have been doing it for a while. You might have already mentioned this a little bit, but what do you love about this work? You guys have been doing it for a long time. There's decades of experience here working with these clients. So what is it about the franchise of McDonald's and these owners that keep you coming back every day?
Well, the owners for sure. The clients are great. The McDonald's system, there are things about it we don't like, but things about it we love. And it has been a vehicle where people who didn't really have a whole lot of money to begin with really excelled. Again, if they had those right qualities and worked hard. And they may have only ever worked at McDonald's, started as a crew person and build a family business and become fairly wealthy and pass that on to their children. And it's just gratifying to see the process. But I think our people too, I was thinking about, so I have at my training place, I have a new trainer named Macy. And I was thinking about Macy that works for us at Mize. And I'm thinking, okay, Macy is Vicky's daughter. Vicky started working for us right out of high school. She wasn't married yet. Macy's her daughter. She finished school, came to work for us, just got married. So we're gratified for the clients we have, but also for our team. We have people that have been with us stayed in their positions a really long time, and it makes our lives so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I think about it from that perspective. But yeah, there's a number of people that are still here that been here as long as I've been here. We're here before I came. People came just around the time or shortly after I came that are all still here. I was interested about Macy's daughter. My daughter worked for us for a while too. Actually, two of my daughters worked for us, summer jobs. Then one of my daughters got into accounting, so she interned here. And so yeah, being able to provide those opportunities as well has been fantastic. And And not to belabor it, but I'll second Carol's point on the clients and their families, working with them. They're top-notch people.
Yeah.
Super fun to work with, helping them achieve their goals. And their goals are all different. So you get to do lots of different things. And so it's a lot of fun.
So if we look at the history, the McDonald's practice here has grown quite a bit and it continues to grow. What do you think fuels that growth for Mize?
Mostly our referral source is our clients.
Mm-hmm.
They speak highly of us. We do marketing. We have a great marketing team that's gets you in front of them. And so then if they've heard about you from another franchisee and then they see you in these places, it tends to, it adds to the growth. But this is a people business. So it really is being out. We travel a lot because those connections are, even virtually, they're hard to make. You really need to sit down and have a meal with somebody and laugh and talk and get to know each other.
I've had numerous conversations in bars
Mm-hmm.
late at
Yeah,
night.
we really should be doing this with wine. I'm not sure why we're talking about the history without a glass of wine.
Yes.
It's, McDonald's over the years, numerous events, doesn't seem to be quite as many as they used to, but when they have an event, we're usually there. Someone from our firm is there. And sometimes you'll plant a seed at one meeting, you have dinner with someone, or they need help with this. So you just help them with this little project, whatever that might be. And then maybe it's 2 years later, you know what? I need to come use you guys and come work with you.
Some kind of a change happens, and we have a lot of contacts that really like us but aren't our clients. Mm-hmm. And, but we continue if we need to give them a little assistance here and there, that's just fine, because if the need does arise, they will reach out to us, and we know that.
Yeah,
and they're not taking advantage.
I think that's 100% correct. I think one of the fun stories I have about that is we also have a number of former corporate employees that are our clients. And it's fun as sometimes you're on the other side of the table working on issues, and then a year later they become your client. Those things have actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting.
It's fun. Well, I mean, when you're working with them, you might have differences of opinions, but you're professional, right? Mm-hmm. They are, and so are we, always. And sometimes you have to agree to disagree. But it's fun to see how that can come full circle when sometimes they decide to get in, become an operator, and then your phone rings and they recognize that you did a good job of helping your client.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they agreed with you or you got to the right place or not, is kind of secondary to the quality, to what they perceive as the quality of your interaction with them and with your client.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've really run across any owners that I've talked to that don't know of us, know of Mize, even if they're not clients. It seems like you've done a great job of building that brand within that.
We have a fairly high profile. I think the NOA, the National Owners Association, and our participation in their meetings has helped that. The NFLA, which is a different leadership group.
Their economics team.
Brian and I both consult with their economics team. And so we talk to a number of people who are not our clients, but we have a great relationship and sharing of knowledge.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I know that you've all really established this to not just be, partners in that, but really thought leaders within this business and the system that they've done here. How did that kind of evolve, becoming at that? I mean, I know, Carol, you're speaking.
Just kind of busybodies, and we sort of put our nose in. Again, with the goal of, if this is going to help my client, I want to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Or this isn't going right, how can we, engage with operator leadership or owner leadership to figure out a path?
Certainly, knowledge is being discussed at those meetings, and we want to be a part of that, so we have that knowledge, and sometimes we can have it first.
Mm-hmm. An example would be tomorrow. I'm on a call with a vendor who's trying to sell the credit card chargeback recovery services. But I'll get on with the client, who's one of the leadership operators, to talk through that process, to understand what they're trying to sell, to see whether we think it really is a good idea and that it would benefit other franchisees, as opposed to somebody who's just trying to sell you something for a fee or a percentage of the recovery. So, and it's not services that Mize is doing. We really can't do it, but the clients need it. And so helping them find a vendor that will provide a good service is something that we do in those leadership capacities.
So it's really the passion you have for these clients, not necessarily they haven't really, not necessarily asking to do that. We just have done that.
Right.
It's pretty exciting to watch all that happen.
Yeah.
You have access to all of the things that make their business tick.
Right.
Yep. As a consultant, I believe that we do that, but effectively here, help them make their businesses better by uncovering the information that we're providing. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Well, certainly.
And part of what I think maybe sets us apart a little bit from some other firms. I would imagine everyone has something similar, but I believe that kind of sets us apart a little bit.
Well, I think it does, but I'm biased.
Yeah.
For sure.
Biased, yeah.
We know of the other firms that do what we do, and I think they do a good job. I really do. Do I think we're the best? I will say that. Yes, I do. I think we are the best. I'm not afraid to say that.
I'm glad you did. No, I mean, again, when we talk, and I think the proof is in the numbers, right? The amount of years of service, the amount of people that have been working on the business continues to grow. Talked about, Mize continues to add things to that too. I think of, the thing, we had a discussion with Carol earlier about PRISM, in that group, like bringing that group involved and just the different things that are being brought in to bear for these clients to really serve everything they're doing. Was that a kind of goal all along? Like, how do you expand and provide more?
Sure. I think those goals evolve as you get in. A client asks, "Hey, I'm selling my restaurants. What do I do with my money?" And
I think we over the years you work with clients, and PRISM provides us. If our clients have an advisor that's a good advisor, that's great, and they don't need to use PRISM. But sometimes they don't, and some advisors are not as ethical as we would like. So, you have a client and and you're seeing them buy annuities and things that are probably that you feel like may be inappropriate in the circumstances. You really want to introduce them to somebody who like us is going to have their best interest at heart, not their own best interest. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we love having PRISM as an avenue for our clients who need that kind of service, because we can trust them not to put their own interests ahead of our clients.
Great.
Yeah, and that's led into forays into other areas too, right? A client needs this particular service that we weren't providing, and we see a need for that maybe across the entire industry base. And so, okay, how do we accomplish that? What can we do to help with this? And it helps us, helps them, and then maybe that leads to another step and to another step. And so
that's actually how we began doing payroll way back when, before my time. We were doing payroll before I came, because this is 1982, and before that, the only computers were mainframe computers, and the only people that had them were banks. Mm-hmm. And so banks were selling payroll services and doing a really poor job with the service. They just weren't any good. So because of that, then we've got all these clients that need payroll services. Cobbler began providing payroll services, which has then evolved because it convenienced our clients. They needed a better solution than what was available. So bring that forward. Now we offer through the EES or the engagement team, onboarding and WOTC and a whole host of services that we know are beneficial to this industry, and that we can compete fairly and know what our clients are getting.
Matt, just through that history, we're talking like 82, how just payrolls evolved, just kind of funny the changes this company's probably had to do from a technology standpoint, right? To just embrace all the changes that have happened in that, and just that our clients are going through. We've had to evolve with them.
Yes, Linda and I unpacked our first PC.
Oh my.
Said it, because we
how large was it?
It's pretty big. We processed payroll on a mainframe, on IBM System 34, I think. But then then as PCs came in, then we unboxed our first PC, and we're dialing up on a modem with a client. It's horrible, but
oh my goodness.
Yes.
That was on paper check time too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was nothing but paper checks. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. So yeah, it was. God, I feel old.
Man, even I'm just kind of going back. I mean, even I imagine all the filings, all the financials were all on paper.
Yes.
You had to like.
Yeah, you didn't. To do a tax return, you're gonna love this because it's being keyed on this. We had input pages, and you'd have to hand fill them out and then send them to processing so they could enter them into the return. Key them in, and you get back your product, and that was keyed on the wrong line or whatever. It was yes. So it was.
I think there's
a lot has changed.
A lot has changed
before my time.
Yes, but it's funny because our relationship with McDonald's goes back to that.
Yes.
And people that kind of remember those things, just how far this goes back and all the things we've done. And kind of, I feel like this company has grown with our owner operators, right? In that team and kind of grown along with them as they've done different things and been on that ride. So it's pretty impressive.
It's been a fun ride, that's for sure.
So coming out of this relationship, and I know it's another meeting that we haven't talked about, but it's going to be coming up early next year, our own meeting. So the history of that meeting. So we put this thing on for we have a client base that we've grown with, and we essentially put on a conference for those clients. Tell me about the history of that, how that came about, and how that's kind of changed over the years.
I think that was over wine one night.
Yeah, we do it. We do a lot of things in bars and over wine, and we.
I was pretty young.
Yes, we had been members of a football suite in Kansas City. Wouldn't that be fun now?
Yeah.
They didn't win that much back then. So we had some budget that we were not doing that again, and we wanted to do something for our clients, and we decided to do this kind of a retreat, a business retreat, if you will. It's a finance meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be just McDonald's owner operator meeting. We had to change the name to finance meeting after PETA got a hold of us one year in Tucson, Arizona. That was quite entertaining. But we
can't wait to hear that story.
Oh, I'll say. So we had our first meeting in San Diego, and it was quite successful. I think our clients liked it. They liked
30 of us, I think, were there.
Yeah.
Definitely smaller than
it was
today.
a much smaller group, but the people that came appreciated it. And they, again, we don't bash McDonald's there, but it is a meeting that does not include corporate folks because it allows the franchisees to express their concerns and talk about things they don't necessarily want to share with corporate leadership. So, so we had that meeting was in San Diego, that first one. We've had several in Captiva in Florida, or two or three, I think, maybe three.
Three, I believe.
And but we were in Tucson on the PETA group, and so there was this guy in this. They were very well dressed. So we thought they're there to present, and they were. I thought they were with the bankers. So we include bankers, and the bankers. And I thought, well, they're just there with they're listening in with the bankers. But they grabbed the microphone, and they were trying to save the chickens or something. It was a PETA demonstration at our meeting, and Sonia, who was our marketing person, then drags this guy off the stage. You get out of here.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, and she's just hauling him out of there, scolding him all the way. It was really quite strange. But so we changed the name so McDonald's wasn't associated with it, not because we're ashamed of McDonald's, but because we didn't
attract that attention.
We didn't want to attract that kind of attention.
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
And it certainly has evolved. One of the things that you just mentioned that I think is very unique about an event like this. Usually big events like this, you have vendors that are there, right? You give them tables and do that. This isn't something we do here, right? We don't have vendors. We're not trying to sell our clients anything. This is about a chance for us to connect with them, a chance to provide them some information. So truly just an event for them.
We have other businesses that we'll invite from time to time because we think that they have something to offer that might be beneficial to our clients. Mm-hmm. But again, it's not a sales convention. So they need to give a presentation about something that's meaningful, not a sales pitch, if they're invited.
Yeah, that's very clear. I think if you asked anybody that's been and we don't even really sell our own services. Mm-hmm. That's never been a goal of this meeting of ours.
No, and it's great. And I think last year was the biggest, right?
Yes, it was.
It was pretty big.
Yeah.
I think we pushed 300.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by
and
far.
You said the first one was 30?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Do you guys ever look back at this history of this thing and just, and kind of take it in? I know you're kind of living day to day, but do you ever just kind of look back and think, wow, what we've done?
I do. Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
There's good and bad to that. Well, the bad's really not bad. I was commenting about this past year's meeting. There used to be a time when we'd have our meeting and I could literally say hello and talk to everybody that was there. With 300 people there now, it's in 2.5 days, it's not possible. Unfortunately, we have enough people there to be able to do that, but I do miss being able to do that, be able to talk to everybody, but it's just the logistical possibility at this point. But that's the worst thing that's come of it. I guess it's not too bad.
Yeah. It's not a bad outcome.
Here's what I think. If you're not currently, if you're a McDonald's franchise owner and you're not working with us, you should be calling us and talking to this team, because this team right here knows what they're doing. They know this business better than anyone. And so I couldn't be more thrilled to be part of the team myself. And I think what you guys have done here is pretty amazing. So
thank you. Yeah.
I appreciate you guys spending some time sharing a little stories about this. And I can't wait to get that glass of wine.
Yeah.
Wine.
Yeah, you should do another one of these over wine. It'll go
It'd
on
be
for a while.
so good. It'd be like a 4-hour. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Mize Breakroom. If you watch this episode on YouTube, please like and subscribe so you never miss another episode. You can find the Mize Breakroom anywhere you can find podcasts. If you like what you heard, please rate and review the podcast 5 stars. Looking for more information? You can find us on most social media platforms at Mize CPAs. Thanks for listening, and see you next time in the Break Room. The Mize Breakroom is produced by Mize CPAs and hosted by Marc Swearengin. Mize CPAs is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice. The information shared in this podcast is for general information purposes only and is not intended to constitute legal or technical accounting, tax, consulting, and/or professional advice that may apply to your specific business. The listener is encouraged to consult counsel and their accountant before making decisions or taking any action concerning matters in this communication to address the recipient's particular facts, circumstances, position, business considerations, or other unique relevant matters, as well as to evaluate any applicable federal, state, or local laws.